And let's go ahead and click the play button and see what we get. All right, so we've got something here. This is line 34. And it says end of line while scanning string literal. Yes, because we forgot the closing parenthesis for the print statement. So let's go ahead and put that in. Rerun it. It's still saying that. Oh, I think it's this. Yeah, that little apostrophe. All right, so let's enter our target URL. Oh, URL split not defined. Let's see line 26. Yep, and you see we have a problem. Pylint found this. View problem. URL split is not defined. Okay, so we probably just need to put the full path to URL split. Let's see what that is. Python URL split. Yeah, so we probably just need to put URL lib.parse.url split. URL lib.parse. Let's do that. Let's rerun this guy. No connection found. Invalid schema. So we raise that exception. Do we put the URL in right? Yes, it looks like we did. And then we see a problem here with line 36. Let's close this one. So I actually think this is a great opportunity to use the debugger in VS Code. So I'm going to click this little bug play icon over here. What we'll do is we will set a breakpoint. I'm just going to click in the gutter over here, create this red dot, so that when we run and debug, the program will run and break at this line so we can inspect the variables. I want to see if the response variable includes the HTML from the requests library when it sends that GET request, okay? So I'm going to say run and debug, and I want to run and debug on the currently active Python file. All right, so it's running. Let's put that URL in. So it's going to pause when we get to the part of the code where we're getting the error, which is line 36. securitypluspro.com. Okay, so it says scraping H. And then if you look here, so you can see the original URL is set to securitypluspro.com. What we're looking for is the response. Let's see. We may not have actually gotten to that point yet. But already you can see the URL says H. So that's not a valid URL, right? I mean, you can't go to something called H. So what we can do is we can say step over to go to the next line. Step into would take us into a function. So get URL would actually take us into the function, and step out would take us out of our current context into whatever function called us to get to this point. So I know that sounds a little confusing. The main thing we want to focus on here is step over, because we're just going to get to the next line. Okay. So now we're at the accept line. Let's see, that URL still looks jacked up. Let's see. Let's run this a few times. So it's parsing each letter. DQ is a list-like sequence, right? So we need to put this in a list-like form by putting the brackets around it. I think that'll do the trick. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Good. So now you can see it's actually scraping all these subparts. It'll scrape up to 20, but it didn't get any emails. So there could be something wrong with our regex. Oh wait, I still have this breakpoint here. Let's go back to the breakpoints. Okay, I cleared that out. one thing I do want to do before we actually figure out why we're not getting the emails is I want to run this and I want to open Wireshark. To see if we can observe the traffic. All right, so ETH0, that's right. Click there. And then we will put in our URL. Let's stop it. Let's see, we have some TCP traffic. Let's look at the DNS. So here's Security Plus Pro. So all the DNS here. Let's see if we have any HTTP. Nope. Let's see, let's clear the filters. So let's see, we got all these protocols and HTTP clearly isn't here. And that's probably because it couldn't connect because the domain, quit without saving, isn't being appropriately resolved. Well, here we see it's resolved. So for some reason it's scraping, but then it's not doing the email extraction. So it could be that there's no emails here. Well, there should be because this is my website. If my email isn't here, then that's a bigger issue. But there should have been something. Let's go ahead and try something else. So we will run it. I'll just click in its bottom pane. Let's put in like CNN. All right, so we got an email address, although that seems really small. Now, if we want to get more, what we could do is try increasing this count, this depth. So let's set this to 100 and then retry it. Oh, and we did get an issue here. No parser was explicitly, okay. No parser was explicitly specified, so I'm using the best available HTML parser. So we should probably explicitly set this parser value here. So let's go ahead and get rid of this warning because we don't want warnings showing like this inside of our code. So let's do Control Z to suspend it. Let's go up to when we use Beautiful Soup. And what we can do here is if we look at the syntax for this, we can see there's a feature section and we didn't put the feature, but I believe that is where we need to specify the LXML tag. So I'll say features equals LXML, Control S to save, and then let's rerun this guy. We'll put in CNN and see if we get more emails. So we'll come back when this is done. Remember, it's now going to 100. That's our depth. Right here. All right, so I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, so about, I don't know, 5 minutes later, you can see we've got our emails. And as you can tell, depth matters, but this is pretty cool, right? We've got a bunch of them. I've obfuscated them for the privacy of these web applications. So there you go. We've got our emails and we're good to go, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions, hit me up. Make sure, if you learned something new in this section, definitely leave a favorable review. Don't forget to hit those 5 stars before you go. And let's keep it going. All right, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.